The story of Despicable Me 3 was a much tougher nut to crack for its screenwriters than the first two films in the franchise, which means that there are a number of scenes that wound up being deleted and several concepts that ended up rejected from the final version of Illumination's latest animated movie. Yippee-ki-yay movie lovers, it's Jan here, and in this video I'm going to reveal and explain some of the scenes and ideas that were cut from the theatrical release of Despicable Me 3. I've also got several sets of awesome merchandise from the movie to give away. For a chance to win, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications and answer the question I'll be asking later in the video. A quick reminder, there are some spoilers in this video, so take care if you haven't seen the movie yet. Despicable Me 3 screenwriters Cinco Paul and Ken Daurio have said they had trouble finding the right role for Lucy in this movie. Indeed, in early drafts of the script, Lucy's role was going to be very different to what we see in the final movie. Originally, once Gru and his family arrived in Fredonia, Lucy was going to start fighting crime there. Actually, if you think about it, this storyline would have fit in rather nicely with how Lucy's character was first established in Despicable Me 2, where she was an undercover agent for the Anti-Villain League and obviously enjoyed her job fighting crime. So it makes sense she would miss that part of her life when she and Gru are fired from the AVL in this movie. And given the way that Lucy used various gadgets, including a tranquilizer gun and lipstick taser in the second film, I can't help but wonder what new gadgets she would have used in her crime fighting in Despicable Me 3 if the filmmakers had gone ahead with that storyline. What we do know though is that during the movie's Cheese Festival in Fredonia, there was a big scene cut that would have featured Lucy chasing after a robber who's stolen an old woman's purse. As you can imagine from the kind of humour we see in the Despicable Me movies, this deleted scene was full of slapstick moments as well as cheese-based puns and sight gags. For instance, Lucy was going to have to dodge a whole load of statues made of cheese and other cheesy stuff along the way as she raced after the purse snatcher, and when she finally caught him, she was going to tell him that this is Nacho Day. In the end though, the screenwriters decided Lucy's vigilante storyline was too disconnected from the rest of the movie and they wanted her story to have more of an emotional payoff this time. So they focused their attention on building up Lucy's relationship with Margo, Edith and Agnes and how she deals with becoming their stepmom. In fact, that decision meant that Lucy's storyline in this film took a similar path to Gru's in the first Despicable Me movie, as both Lucy and Gru face challenges becoming a parent to the girls but end up becoming close to them, and later save their lives after they're kidnapped by the movie's villain. Despite all that, I think I still would have preferred the more active and action-packed crime-fighting storyline for Lucy in this movie. Although former child star Balthazar Bratt is very clearly the new big bad who Team Gru has to defeat in Despicable Me 3, the filmmakers didn't always have Bratt in mind to be their movie's #1 villain. You see, one of the first ideas for the movie was that Bratt was just a henchman to another big supervillain who was the main focus of the film. However, that original supervillain was pretty humourless and just didn't work for the movie, because as Despicable Me 3 producer Chris Meledandri has said, you need to give Gru a worthy adversary, someone who presents a real challenge as well as someone who is worthy comedically. Gru is so fun and lively that if you put a very straight villain against him, that character will just disappear. Fortunately, when the filmmakers saw the animators' early sketches of Balthazar Bratt, they realised that his character had a lot more potential than they first thought, and that he was actually the worthy adversary for Gru that they'd been looking for. So they upgraded Bratt's role from a mere sidekick to a 1980s obsessed supervillain out to destroy Hollywood. Speaking of Balthazar Bratt's fixation with all things 1980s, of course that means the movie contains a ton of pop culture references to fashion, TV shows, movies and music from that decade. But not everything the screenwriters had in mind to show off Bratt's 80s mania made it into the final cut of the film. For example, Trey Parker, who provides the voice of Balthazar Bratt and is best known as co-creator and star of South Park, recorded a bunch of songs for use in the movie, including Karma Chameleon, a classic song from 1983 by the British band Culture Club. However, those songs ended up on the cutting room floor when the scene where Bratt was going to sing a track from the 1980s was completely dropped from the movie. However, we do still get to hear voice actor Trey Parker sing in the movie, but now it's a new track called Hug Me, which was written by Pharrell Williams. By the way, I've made a separate video about all the cool Easter eggs and movie references in Despicable Me 3, and there's a link to that in the video description below and at the end of this video. Long-lost twin brothers Gru and Dru are opposites in many ways, and their contrasting personalities influenced the filmmaker's design of Dru. In fact, Dru's look in the final film, including his flowing blonde hair and white suit versus Gru's bald head and dark clothes, was one of co-director Eric Guillon's first designs for Dru. However, before the filmmakers finally decided on that particular look for Gru's new brother, they tried out a variety of other looks, including having Drew wear a big fur coat over a sweatshirt, a design which emphasised that Drew was both very laid back and very wealthy, thanks to having inherited his father's enormous fortune and pig farm. In the end, though, that look was rejected in favour of their first design, which the filmmakers felt reflected Drew's personality in a much simpler and clearer way. The clear-cut differences between the newly reunited twin brothers are played up during a family dinner scene, which was also the subject of several cuts. This scene where Gru and Drew swap clothes and hairstyles and generally clown around pretending to be each other started out quite a bit longer than the scene we see in the final film, with the brothers' back and forth banter initially stretching out to over 3 minutes. The scene was actually rather complicated, as Steve Carell, who voices Gru and Drew, had to play each character imitating the other character in a conversation between themselves. So to make it easier, Carell recorded all Gru's lines first, then went back and recorded all Drew's lines later. There's also another funny moment that takes place at Drew's mansion in Fredonia, which was cut from the final movie. In the deleted scene, Gru and Drew are wearing their new spy costumes and are examining one of Drew's many weapons when suddenly Lucy walks in on them and is pretty annoyed as she thinks they're now both going to be villains.
So, you two are villains now?
I mean, hello, sweetie. Uh-oh, busted.
Although this scene ended up being deleted, it looks like there's a little trace of what the filmmakers were going for with this moment in the final film. Just after Lucy sends away Nico's mother for cursing Margo, she walks towards the window in Drew's mansion and spots Gru and Drew in their spy costumes jetting off in their speedboat. Lucy looks pretty annoyed, like she knows something is going on and thinks the brothers are up to no good, which likely relates back to that deleted scene where she discovered Gru and Drew in their lair. Now, what do you think about the deleted scenes and rejected concepts, and would you like to have seen them in the movie? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. For a chance to win this awesome Despicable Me 3 merchandise, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment about the movie, and also answer the following question. What was the name of the song Balthazar Bratt was going to sing that got cut from the movie? Make sure you turn on your notifications to get all my new videos where I'll be announcing the winners of the giveaway. And let me know what movie deleted scenes you'd like me to do in a future video. If you enjoyed this, I really appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button, and check out some more of my deleted scenes and animation videos right here. Congratulations to the first winner of my Cars 3 giveaway, who's on the screen now. If that's you, send me a message on YouTube or via my email on my About page so I can get your details to send you the prize. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers!